Hello, so I'm just gonna make another revision video today. Take these off because it's a glare. Okay, we're doing feminism and philosophy at the minute, so I should have done this at the weekend, but instead I'm up at like 4 o'clock doing it. It's 5 o'clock now. It's Ephesians, I think that's how you say it, and it's a Bible passage, and we're going through it and seeing whether we think the Bible is patriarchal and whether we need feminism in relation to it. I don't know if I explained that very eloquently, but yeah. So I probably won't read through the whole thing, but I'll just basically explain what I think about it and whether I think that this part in the Bible is patriarchal. And So at the start, basically, it does say things about the woman submitting herself to her husband, and the husband is like Christ, and the church is like the woman, and Christ. No, that's not right. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. Yeah. Okay. And the church submits to Christ. Yeah. So the woman submits herself to the man, just like the Christ submits to the church. So at the start, this does seem patriarchal, and it does seem like a very male-dominated idea where, or an interesting thing to note is that the wife has to submit herself to the man, to the husband in everything, and that's the bit that I guess adds the emphasis. It like qualifies it as like, okay, well, this does seem extremely patriarchal. If you were just to look at the first bit of the Ephesians Bible passage. But if you keep reading, there's like a contradiction between this first section and the second section, and but it says that husbands should love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. So this basically suggests that although the woman has to submit herself to the man in anything and everything, the man is under a moral obligation to only inflict, I don't know if that's the right word, to only control the woman in a way which he would wish will upon himself almost. So there is restrictions to this. It's not like the man has complete free reign over the woman. He's also restricted in what he can do. But then again, you could make the argument that should this be in place at all? Should the woman even be considered to be subordinate to the man? And well, that's up for debate, I guess. When I was reading it, I actually thought about myself. I was like, well, would I want myself to be subordinate to a man? And it's like, no. But then again, does sexuality play a role? Obviously, Christianity rejects homosexuality, and I don't choose to label myself as completely gay, but yeah, like I don't rule out. Well, I prefer to be in relationships with girls, basically, but I don't rule out being in a heterosexual relationship. So it's like, well, do I have a bias here? Am I like quite masculine for a female, which I definitely wouldn't deny. But yeah. So I did have like a feminist moment throughout where I got to a point where I was like, well, yeah, well, like I just said, like I was imagining myself being subordinate to a man, imagining a man telling me what to do, and it's like, oh, I don't really want that. And then I was like, well, wait, is this about my feelings, or is this should I let my feelings get in the way of something that could actually have quite a bit of truth to it? And I was like, maybe not. So I don't want to just. I'm trying not to have a bias whilst I'm looking at it. But obviously, we can't help but do that. It's like I want to find truth in it, and I sort of. Maybe this is a bit of confirmation bias, but and that's perhaps leading me to believe that this isn't so patriarchal. But yeah, so because I want it not to be, but then again, getting towards the end, it's like it's not illogical for me to say that it's not patriarchal because there is, well, I guess the evidence is there, and I'm interpreting it in that way, and I don't see my interpretation to be completely illogical if it's illogical at all. Yeah. Okay, so this here it says, present her to himself as radiant church without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. This bit could interpret it as in the woman is innocent or should be innocent, and then from innocence I derived childhood and naivety. So this suggests that this also links to the idea that man is made in the image of God, and God is a father figure. So it's like the man is like a father figure to the woman almost. He is the protector and the controller. So that I guess that could be interpreted as quite patriarchal. The protection is for the man's satisfaction. So I'm trying to look at it from a feminist's view as well as a just from my perspective or from the perspective of a anti-feminist. Yeah. This line says to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word. And here I wrote that so a woman is dependent on a man to be holy, and this is reflective of sexual views, because for reproduction to be fulfilled, a man is required. And I also link this to natural law, and Aquinas and Aristotle. Aristotle believed that all people had a purpose, or he called this telos, and the human purpose is eudaimonia, which is human flourishing. And from this, Aquinas derived the 5 primary precepts, and one of those is to reproduce and live in an ordered society, and yeah, but so reproduction is important. So in order for the woman to be holy and to fulfill her potential to reproduce, she has to be join a covenant with God and a man. So by marrying, she gets a husband, and then she's able to fulfill the purpose of reproduction. And yeah, and then and that which fulfills its purpose is good, and that which goes against it is bad. But that's assuming that the only purpose of sex is reproduction. And is that really the case? I don't know. I would say no, but yeah. But perhaps there is benefits to having the only purpose of sex as reproduction, because it reduces the possibility of people getting STIs, STDs, because they're not just going out and having casual sex. And yeah, obviously that's changed now due to, like, I guess the age of the hippies, or I don't quite know what you call that, or the rise in postmodernism, where basically sex started to become glorified rather than something seen as a taboo almost. And yeah, that it has both good and bad parts. Like, well, one of the bad parts I'd say is we have an incline in single parent households because people are having sex outside of marriage, just casually on a drunken night out, which, yeah, it may be more liberating for people, but is it really better for families? Is it really better for raising children? And it raises all these questions. So it's like, well, is the purpose of sex for reproduction such a bad thing? And it is still debatable, because you can have sex for pleasure within a marriage, and is that a bad thing? I don't think so. Yeah, so it links to that. So the woman becomes holy because she has to fulfill her purpose of reproduction. That's from the natural law perspective anyway. That's how I interpreted it. Yeah, there was a little bit at the end. However, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. So this I interpreted as almost a reasonable negotiation, which doesn't seem very patriarchal, because it's not something tyrannical. It's not like the man is just has complete power over the woman. It's like if he loves the woman, then she respects him back. It's not just the man being able to control the woman through the means of like a dictatorship or something, or dictating her actions and things like that. He has to love her as if he loves himself. But then again, you could interpret that just loving his wife as he loves himself as like as quite patriarchal in itself, because it's like it treats the woman as a subordinate to the man, and the man as the ideal almost, or the yeah. Anyway, this is gonna cut out in a minute, so I've pretty much covered the whole thing. Thanks for watching.